Hello, everybody, and welcome to an exciting presentation. You are here for Flipgrid, a party of powerhouse ideas, and it's going to be a lot of ideas. They'll come at you fast and furious, and I know you're going to have a good time, so buckle up and let's get started. But first, let me just introduce myself. On this slide, you can see my name is Kathy Kersnowski. I'm a technology integration specialist in New Jersey, here in the United States, which means I get to teach teachers about Flipgrid and all kinds of other things. Flipgrid is one of my all-time faves. And you can see there are some badges that I've put on here, just a few to show you that on the left, I'm a Flipgrid student voice ambassador, and I have been for years and years. I'm a devout Flipgridian, and I do love the platform, and I love teaching others about it. As a matter of fact, the second icon there shows that I'm on the executive board for Flipgrid as well. And then next to that, you'll see that I wrote a book, and that is Sail the Seven Seas with Microsoft Education. And in that book, we give lots of use cases and great stories about ways to use Flipgrid, as well as other Microsoft products. You know, Flipgrid is owned by Microsoft, so that brings me to the right-hand side and the icons that are over there. I'm super active in the Microsoft community too. I'm an MIE expert, an MIE fellow, I'm a Microsoft Master Trainer, and I'm also a Microsoft Global Learning Mentor. So these are my communities. This is the stuff that gets me excited. And we have lots to be excited about today. The last two things I'll point your attention to at the bottom of this slide are my Twitter handle. I'm crazy active on Twitter. You can find me there every day. So my Twitter handle is @Kersey. Please follow me. I would love to connect with you and learn from you too. So let's do that on Twitter. And at the very bottom, that's my website, kersey.com. And we'll circle back to that at the very end because you're going to want that website where I can share some resources with you today. Ready to start the party? Let's go. All right, here we are. This is where the party starts. This is called Flipgrid Madness. Back in March, Flipgrid had a little contest, a little challenge for people to come up with some new Flipgrid ideas and share them as part of a tournament. And when I saw that challenge issued, I thought, challenge accepted. And I just went crazy. I just needed to come up with some new Flipgrid ideas. And so this is a veritable party of ideas. There are 31 ideas. So yes, March has 31 days, but you know, you could use these any month. And I don't have enough time to show you all of them. So I've decided I'm going to take you on a walk through some of my favorite ones and really showcase some new ideas that maybe you haven't heard of or ones that you have heard of and you could use in a different way. By the way, this whole Flipgrid Madness is created on a site called Genially, and it's a really fun site. So each of those glowing, pulsing plus signs that look like the Flipgrid logo are actually clickable, and they take us out to something. So you see the name of an idea, and then it will link out because it's an interactive image. So the first thing I thought I would take you to is something that you may have heard of before called a flip hunt. Flip hunt is an idea that I came up with about 4 years ago. I'll click on that. And you see how this one links you out to my blog, where I have everything you could ever want to know about a flip hunt. A flip hunt is a scavenger hunt hosted entirely on Flipgrid. So it's challenges and things to find and things to do, but it's all done via the video element of Flipgrid. So it's a really, really fun activity that you can do with your family, you can do with students, and you can really take advantage of whatever you're teaching or trying to do. So here's a little grid that tells a little bit about what a flip hunt is. Varied action verbs, there's some silliness happening, people are getting up and moving around to do this highly interactive scavenger hunt, usually some multi-sentence challenges, and a flip hunt is always fun. Now I'll stay away from the is not side from right now, and I'll let you read that later on your own because I want to show you some examples of this. I think it's the best way you'll understand what a flip hunt is. So I've brought a few up. This actually started, oh my gosh, back, July 23rd, 2018. I can see the date right here at Flipgrid Live in Minnesota when I traveled out there for a large event that they were happening. And this was where the first ever flip hunt was launched. And it was launched in front of a lot of people at that event. And it was just super, super fun. And I made it in Flipgrid. and then I presented it, and then people at the conference could try these things. Now, it was in Minnesota, so all of the challenges that I came up with, and they're listed right here, I put on a document like this, and they were Minnesota themed because we were in Minnesota. So these were challenges that anybody could do and record onto that flip hunt grid. Take a look at some of those while I'm talking. Like, look at jump on in. Jump into a body of water while yelling, "I've got Flipgrid fever." You can see some of these are very fun. The Mary Tyler Moore statue is there. So We Want More was the name of this flip hunt challenge. At the Mary Tyler Moore statue, mimic the hat toss. So these all involve action. You can see that there's a lot of silliness and descriptors. As a matter of fact, I couldn't stop. Once I started coming up with challenges, I had 2 full pages of Flipgrid or Microsoft or Minnesota themed things that people could do that were silly or crazy. That's the gist of a flip hunt. That's where it all started. But it doesn't stop there, because you can take this to your curriculum and really make it about the things that you're teaching. This is a form of assessment for kids in the most fun possible way, and they have no idea that they're being assessed. Here's an example of some geometry things that students could do, right? So let's take a look at the last red one on here. Construct a dodecahedron out of straws. Show it on video and explain how you made it. How many vertices does it have, right? That's a challenging one. And take a look at some of the green ones, much easier. So this one I made a leveled flip hunt where green was easy, yellow was medium, and red was hard. But down here, this is one of my favorites that I love to show. I was teaching skeletal system at the time, and so look at some of the challenges there. The very first one, wiggle your phalanges. Do students have to know what phalanges are in order to be able to wiggle them? Sure. Sing and act out the song head, shoulders, knees, and toes, but use the names for the skeletal bones as you touch each one. So this is a flip hunt, and all of these are recorded videos. So you want to make them silly, you want to make them fun, you want to make this fun for the kids and fun for you to watch too. All right, let's move on, because there are other ways you can use flip hunt. Here's one. I love to share this one. So I did this with my family, and very few people knew about this story until right now at ISTE. This is my Aunt Margaret. She will be glad to know how famous she is from this. She was coming to town to visit me at one weekend, and I was just trying to think of some things I could do while she was here. I made a flip hunt, and I made Aunt Margaret, who was 76 years old at the time, go and do a flip hunt. And these were some of the tasks that I put on that. She has no idea what Flipgrid is at the time. She didn't know any of these things, but she followed me around, and we went around the town, and she was a good sport, and she tried some of these things. So look, time is precious. Take time to stop and smell the flowers, or whatever else you'd like to smell. She was hysterical. Oh my goodness, she was laughing. How about good signs? Find a street sign or any sign that describes you in some way. And we actually found a sign that said Margaret on it, which was so much fun. So you can use Flipgrid for family, which is something else that I love to advocate for. So Flipgrid, flip hunt, that's my number one thing that I wanted to show you today. All right, that was a big one. The rest will go a little faster. So let's move on to another one. I'm going to come down the row here to this one that says Flipmoji Scenes. And here is Flipmoji Scenes. When I click on that link, it brings me to this YouTube video that I had created that shows you how to create them and what they are. A Flipmoji scene is when you use your Flipgrid camera and you bring in emojis from Flipgrid and the stickers, and you basically create a scene, but you put yourself at the center of that scene, and then you act as if you are the character in that scene. So here you can see I've kind of got a tropical thing going, and I've got a boat. So I was a character on the sea. This is so much fun to use with students. They love it because they take on the perspective of whatever character they've placed into the scene, and their creativity just goes wild. It's so much fun to see what they can do just using a bunch of emojis and placing themselves in a scene. So this video will show you how to do that. All right, let's come back to our Flipgrid Madness party, and I'll take you over to this one. This one is called Overlays. It's a little bit more involved, but for those of you who like a creative challenge, you're going to fall in love with overlays. Overlays are just anything that has a transparent background, so you can put that over the video that you make in Flipgrid. Similar to a Flipmoji scene, but you're actually creating an image and then removing part of the background to make it transparent. I'm not going to show you this whole video because we don't have time, but you'll have access to all this at the end. But I'll just click through a little bit and show you some of the overlays that I made. So this was St. Patrick's Day, and Flipgrid didn't have a border or a frame that was shamrock themed. So I made this, and then I took the background out by making it transparent, and then I had made my own frame or overlay. I put 4 H's in that because I think it's so cool. Here's another one that I made. I needed to do a volcano scene, so I dropped all these elements on the screen, and then I removed the purple so that I was able to be in the background of that. That's how you create overlays. It's just layering images and then removing the background. Here was a more formal one, you know, with some words across the bottom, maybe for a newscast or something like that, or a webinar. So you can make those. And here was just a basic frame that I found online. In this one, I took out the red, and you get the idea. Overlays, so much fun to make. Here was one for breaking news. I wanted to design my own. Lots and lots of fun you can have making overlays. And this video teaches you how. It shows you the tools and takes you through how to do that on your own. I think everybody who was in love with Bitmoji craze last summer probably would like to make overlays because it's one of those creative projects you could really get into doing. All right, the next one I want to show you, oh, it's just one of my favorites. It's right here called Keychains and Keepsakes, and this uses Flipgrid's augmented reality. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see that better. So you know in Flipgrid, anytime you make a video, you can also generate a QR code for it. And that QR code in Flipgrid is called #FlipgridAR. And so here's some examples of things that I cherish these, keychains and keepsakes, ideas that you can do. So imagine, take a look on the left. You have your students tell why their mommy is so special and why they love their mommy. And for Mother's Day, you print out those little QR codes. I've done this. And then just get some acrylic keychain on Amazon or any kind of keychain you'd like to make. And you put that QR code in there, and that their little voice is preserved forever on that keychain that mommy gets. And she can scan it with the Flipgrid app, and it kind of pops out in augmented reality. It pops off the screen, or you can scan it with a regular scanner too. Just cherished, priceless awesomeness right there. Check out the bookmarks. So maybe you have a son who's going off to college, or maybe you have a friend who's retiring, or maybe you just want to give these out as Christmas presents to the students in your class. Just a great way for you to leave a special little message, put it on a bookmark. Everybody needs a bookmark, right? And so you can just give those as gifts, but they've got a little piece of you attached to it. And look at the one on the right. I've shared this for a couple of years, and I've seen so many people take advantage of this and create beautiful, cherished family ornaments. Record your children, record your whole family, get it on Flipgrid, capture those memories, put it on an ornament, write the year on that ornament, and put it on the tree. And when you're scanning that 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 years from now, what a priceless, priceless thing that you'll have just by using the power of Flipgrid, generating those QR codes, and putting them on some keychains and keepsakes. Isn't that a fun idea? Okay, the next one, oh my goodness, I made this just for this Flipgrid Madness. It was called Game Board, and boy, did I have a good time with this one. So again, I will enlarge my screen a little bit. This is again using the Flipgrid QR code, Flipgrid AR QR codes. I reached out to some friends. I started a grid, and I told some friends of mine that I wanted them to come up with some silly move that somebody would have to do. So record themselves on Flipgrid saying, I want you to get on the floor and slither like a snake while you make rattling noises, or something silly like that. So I had friends do that for me. I got the QR codes from their video, and I made a game board out of it. Look at that. And if you are looking at this right now and you have a phone or something in your hand that you can scan some of these and see how they work. It's pretty fun. So it's some of my friends who work at Flipgrid or even in here at Microsoft. So take a look at that, and that is just such a fun idea. Wouldn't this be great to do with your students? So mine was about silly moves, but what if your students were coming up with really good quiz questions about a unit or a concept you just taught? They'd have a great time making a game board like this with each other or with you as a whole class. I just love that idea. Turned out so fun. All right, the next idea is the Make a Map idea. So I have it down here. It's the Make a Map challenge. And when you click on that, it links you over here to Flipgrid, where I have my Make a Map challenge. And here are all the directions that I've put there, but I made a little video up at the top that pretty much shows how to do it. So let me play this video for you quickly. I called it Squishy Land Map.
For this map, give me directions. Start by singing until you're no longer sad. It should come as no surprise that I don't want you to get hurt. So I mustache you to find your way to the finish, which is where I will love to see you.
So I created this challenge in Squishy Land Map. By the way, those are little stickers that are available in Flipgrid in the sticker collection. I call them squishies because I think that they look like squishies, and that's what I've named them. So when I made this map, you can see it's directional skills. So I know when I taught second grade, we did northeast, west, south. You know, we did a lot of map skills and things like that. That's what I was thinking when I designed this. And I thought, how great would it be for the students to figure out those clues and then give me directions by responding with a Flipgrid video of their own. But when I shared this online, somebody said, this is a great coding activity. We teach these skills with coding, you know, about having to go so many units and having to turn left or right or things like that. So they thought they might adapt this and use it for that, which I thought was a fabulous idea. So Squishy Land Map was part of the Make a Map challenge right here. All right, I'm going to come down to follow the bouncing question mark is another one that I wanted to show you, and you'll see why it's a question mark in just a minute. You thought it was going to say follow the bouncing ball, didn't you? Well, it could be follow the bouncing anything. So before I get into this, I just want to explain what I did is I made this as a kind of a fluency check. So for your students to practice their reading skills, especially our younger readers or less fluent readers or language learners who are learning to read in a different language, just a fun way to kind of follow along as you read by moving the sticker that you put on there. I wrote this little poem thing here, and I did it on purpose because I wanted to demonstrate how you could use different stickers as you move along. So I'll just play a little bit of this so you can get a feel for what this is when follow the bouncing.
Run, tiger, run. You have to run so fast. Go slow, turtle, slow.
And I will stop there because you get the idea. At each line, I use the pause feature in the Flipgrid camera, and I changed the animal so that this would just be a little bit more fun and engaging. Don't you think students would like practicing their fluency with Flipgrid in this way? It's just a matter of taking a picture of some text, right, and then letting the students choose a sticker to use as they move along in the words. I think that's a pretty fun one. That is follow the bouncing question mark, right? And the last one that I want to show you today, because I'm afraid we'll run out of time, is one that means a lot to me, and there's a bit of a story that goes with it. So let me share. It's down here in the corner. It's called Flipgrid for Family, and there's a bit of a backstory on it. So you've already met Aunt Margaret. This is a different family Flipgrid that I've made, and I want to show you a little bit about it. When you click that, it actually links out to my blog, and I've written the entire story there, but let me summarize it for you. I have a grid in my Flipgrid collection called Mom and Dad. I have a topic called Mom, or actually no, it's a group called Mom and Dad. And in there, I have many, many different topics. And the reason I'm doing this is because my parents are in their 80s. They live over 1,000 miles away from me, and I only get to see them a few times a year. I love them very much. And just like all aging parents, I'm treasuring the time that I still have with them. And so I, like you, have wondered a million times, you know, what was it like growing up for you? What were your brothers and sisters? What kinds of things did you fight with your friends about? What are some of your favorite school memories? Well, I took those and I made them topics. So I have a group called Mom and Dad, and I have topics. that are these kinds of questions, and I've put them in there. And I tell the story of how I got down to Florida. That's where my parents are. And I approached them with this idea. I said, I want to collect your memories while I still can. I want you to tell your stories. And they were very nervous about the computer part of it. And so I said, don't worry about the computer part of it. I'll push the buttons. I'll ask the questions. You just talk. Then they didn't want the camera on them. I said, that's okay. I'll tilt the camera away from you. I still just want to capture your stories. And Flipgrid is just such a great way to do it. So one night we were sitting around with my son was there and asked the first question. They were a bit reluctant in the beginning, and then the stories just started to flow. And at certain points, my son would ask questions, and he would learn a little bit more about their early life or their working years or whatever. And it became just this cherished treasure trove of memories and stories and collections and things that I had never heard. And it was lots of laughs, and it was just a very sentimental thing. What I did when I was done, I'm so in love with this idea, and we're still doing it. So when I go to visit my parents, this is something we all look forward to. I don't even need, I can just do it on my phone. I can just get it out and open that grid up and just say, come on, let's just do an hour of storytelling again. And I printed out cards to help us. So, and I'm giving you these cards. They're in my blog. So all of these cards here, and I'll just enlarge them a little bit. Here are some of the topics that I just ask, and the things erupt from my parents. They start sharing all kinds of good things. So weekends as a child, you in school, what were you like in school? Tell me about conversations you had with your parents. And this used to be a thing, and that's a great category about things of old that are no more. And just I love seeing my parents reflect and have those memories. So these are all different topics. All these cards here are just different ideas that I came up with that are just great questions to ask somebody that you love and get to know them a little bit better. I have all these cards here for you. I printed them out, I cut them out, I put them on the table, and we just looked around and they'd pick one up, and that's what started it. It sparked a conversation, and we captured that through the magic of Flipgrid, which is really, it's just another great way to use Flipgrid. So those are some of the ideas I wanted to highlight for you today in this big old Flipgrid party. Don't you love the bright colors and the ideas and the pulsing pluses? There's more. It's hard for me to hold myself back and not show you all 31 of these, but don't worry. You can have this entire Flipgrid madness thing. And if you're looking at one right now saying, Kathy, but you didn't talk about that one. I know. I'm sorry. You can still get to it when you get a chance to look at this, and I'll tell you how. Do you remember back on the very first slide I showed you my website is kersey.com. That's it, KERSZI.com. And if you go to my website, kersey.com, and click up here on the words Kathy's blog, here it is, my own kind of madness for Flipgrid. And so you can click on that and you can have access to the whole grid so you can explore the other 20 some that I didn't get a chance to cover today in this party. So that brings us to the end. I hope you had a great time at this party, a powerhouse of ideas and lots of new things that you can do and try with Flipgrid. I hope you found some inspiration. I hope you are motivated to innovate and try some of these things. I hope you come up with some new ideas on your own and share them back with me, because I love learning and connecting, because we are better together.